Hey traders, market update time. Let's get straight into it. Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Alright, market update time. Pretty much a nothing day across the board. Looking on the very close candlestick bar, we actually had a bit of a pullback, and then we had a rally to a nice higher close, and then we had the volume spike as well too. So we had a volume spike, not a volume spike, but we had a bit more of a volume coming into the rally of the close on the Dow Jones. Looking at the S&P, same thing on the S&P as well too. That we had a bit of a rally, and guys, this is actually quite a bullish sign. So I wouldn't be too quick to be jumping in front of the shorts at this very moment, because you can see this whole level here still holding support. This whole resistance here is still holding support. So we still can get a bit more of a rally up to the high side, and maybe even continue up. So I would not be short this market at this very moment anyway. The Russell had came down towards a couple of levels of support level. Especially this level here. If I squeeze my chart up as much as possible, you can see that we've got a whole bunch of level of supports. There's a bit of a support level there. We're still getting that divergence on the indicators, no doubt about that. But looking on the short term, still not convincing on the downside yet. And on the Nasdaq, same thing as well too. But the Nasdaq rallied down. If I take everything off the screen, you can see it just came down and then rallied right back up, and we had a lot of volume come in, had a bit more volume come into it as well too today. So overall, guys, it seems like that the markets are continuing to stay in the nice upward movement, upward trend. Let's go have a quick look at the weekly charts, see what the weekly charts are telling us. We've got this overall channel that we're in here on this weekly formation, and you can see if I just squeeze this up a little bit more and actually just bring this over here like this, you can see that that overall, guys, that we're in this basically this channel here, this massive channel. The market's ran up, it's now going sideways. So the way this is forming right now, I wouldn't be too surprised, guys, if it does break out and we get a nice little rally back up to the high side through there. And then have a race back up to the 19,000, maybe a bit more. Have a good 4 or 5% rally to the high side. If it holds here long enough, we will get a break up, and then it will just continue running up from there. So that's what I'm seeing there on that Dow Jones chart. Same for the S&P, but the S&P's sort of just been going sideways. Probably for the last month. If we get a break up, we're likely to have another probably 4 or 5% move to the high side, and probably race back up towards this channel here. If we do get a breakdown, we've got a lot of support through here. So it's very, very, very interesting. People are calling a crash right now. Nothing on the chart is telling me this market's going to go down a lot. If it does go down a lot, then we'll start to look at that. But it doesn't. It's not saying that right now. Now, yes, I do believe we are due for a decent pullback, but that doesn't mean the market's going to pull back. Trust me, I've learnt that lesson. So depending on where the breakout's going to be, are we going to break down? If so, we'll probably have a good 2 or 3% to the high side. If we really start to break up out of this sort of this little sideways pattern through here on the actual chart itself, then you can see this little sort of maybe like a bit of a flag formation, if you're going to call it that. You can see that through there. You can see, so if we break up and out, then we have a target of this top of this channel where I think it was probably or likely going to get to. So so let me just do something here. I'm just drawing a couple of trend lines to see. That's probably a bit more of a better one through there. That's probably the better one. So the top of this channel here, guys, either way, the top of this channel is the one that I think we're likely, if we do get a rally up, we'll probably get to the top of that channel. Looking onto the Russell, look on the weekly chart, get out of it. You can see that on the Russell, guys. The Russell, yes, we've had a big run up and we are due for a pullback. Even if we do get a pullback, guys, we actually can see that on the Russell 2000 that we obviously at an area of where the market is extended. If we do get a pullback, it's probably only going to be a couple percent to the downside, and then we may hold and then rally back up towards this channel, or we may break out. If we do break out, I don't think there's a lot of upward movement. You can see a lot of upward movement, maybe another 3 or 4% upward movement, and maybe then we actually go to the highs in the Russell. That actually could potentially happen as well. On the Nasdaq, if I look at my Nasdaq chart, you can see that this obviously long-term chart here, guys. You can see that this overall channel through here, and that's the exact channel through there. So we are at that channel where we are right now. Does it break above it and continue running up? We have had such an extended run to the high side, so we are due for some sort of a pullback. Whether that happens, or do we just break up and just continue running up from there? So it's we're at this a couple of areas of long-term resistance where we are right now. So it's interesting to see if we actually do get some sort of a pullback in this market. So it's really interesting, guys. No one really knows what's going to happen from here. I'm looking at the short term, especially like the daily charts and stuff like that, and looking at this, I'm just like, this thing is just so overextended, and you know what? It's going to keep being overextended until it's no longer want to be overextended, and then we're going to have a pullback. But the pullback, guys, the pullback that normally happens when the market gets overextended is not just a small little pullback. It's quite a decent pullback. Like you can see here, right, from there to there, we had basically a vertical move of, say, a 16% move to the high side, 16-17%, and then what happened? The market started rolling over, and then we had from a high to low, we had a good 5 or 6% drop off, and then the market took off again. So, and you can see here, right, when the market takes off vertically like that, and then we had a small pullback as well to a 3-4%. So where we are right now from low to high, we've had such an extended run to the high side. You can see if I move this here, we've had a good, say, 15%. So about 15% rally to the high side. Not quite this one here. So from this one here, this here to here was a 15, basically a 15-16% rise, and then we had a good 4 or 5% pullback. This one here, again from low to high, this one here about 15%, and if this is the high point, and we have a roughly a similar pullback, very interesting to see. What I'm talking about there is you can actually see what I'm actually doing here, right? So this rise from there to there is basically from low to high. We're looking at, say, around about the 16% rise. So that actually had, this one here had a 16% rise, and I'm just doing this while I'm trying to 16% rise in the markets. And then what actually happened? We got from a high to the low, we got about a 5 to 6% drop on the downside. Interesting to see that if I just copy that line and connect it, look at that, almost identical on the way that it's actually formed. And if I do the exact trend line, you can see that it had a vertical move through there, and then we had a move up through there. So if I do that exact same thing, let me take that off. Now that's the whole move there, as you can see. If I copy that trend line and I do that, look at that, guys, like basically almost identical. And then if I copy that bit there where it wasn't so vertical but still is vertical, look at that. It's just, and if I extend that there, we're basically there. So that's the length and the angle. The length and the angle is very similar to this bit here, right? And then what do we get? We got a move down from there to there, right? And if you do a movement, this was the movement down. As you can see, this was the movement down, and this one here, from the high down to the low, you're talking about a 5% drop. So let's actually go to that point there now. We're going to go to 5%, so a 5% drop. All right. So So a 5% drop. So if I take that exact, say 5% drop, and I bring this over to where we are right now. So from the exact high to the exact, say, roundabout low was a close to a 5 to 6, or probably close to a 5.5% drop from the exact high to the exact low. So that point there to that point there, the exact high to the exact low, create a parallel trend line. So this is the exact parallel trend line, and I'm going to connect that through there. And as you can see, it actually snaps back exactly where? To this support level. So it's really interesting, guys, that what actually happened back here in when this was September, and then this October and November rally is very almost identical to what is actually happening right now on this Nasdaq chart. So there we go, guys. Just doing a bit of a live analysis for you. If this is a top, then it looks like we could have a nice decent pullback towards this support level. If history is going to repeat itself, then this could be a support here, and then maybe we do rally up out of that. Maybe we don't. So we just got to take it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time. But looking at all of these markets here, guys, and it's really interesting, right? You can see here, we can see that we actually had a pretty nice decent drop to then a big rally out, and then we had a decent drop through here, rally up into new highs, and then we just sort of kept going up, and then we had a nice drop. So if it does pull back, guys, we can see that this whole area through here for me is that area where if it does start to pull back, we have a good chance of it pulling back to there. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today. I'm not going to BS you here. Trading is hard. Over my 10 years of trading, I've learned some amazing systems and strategies, and I've put it all in my brand new Grab the Markets by the Balls course, and I'm giving you 100% free access. This whole course is 12 videos long and almost 10 hours of the best systems and strategies that I know. Click on the image below now to get 100% free access right now.